afternoon. I'm not sure. I think we're right on the edge. All right, we are doing Frankfully November. We're gonna come up with some easy ways to fix hot dogs, or it's not just hot dogs every night. So I don't know if you can see all the ingredients, if you know what I'm going to make. I'm gonna use some instant mashed potatoes. They need to get used up. I usually make them from potatoes. I don't usually use the box. We got some brown gravy, which we don't use very often either. I believe those both came from my mom's house. We got some wieners, Alpine wieners we took out of the freezer. We've got our corn that I think I got them on sale for like 5 cents an ear. So we got the limit and made our own frozen corn. And we're going to use some cheddar jack cheese. So I'm going to get to making these two things on the stovetop. I'm going to grab a casserole dish. I'm probably going to warm some of this up as well, just to make sure it doesn't put too much water in our casserole. But you know the KFC chicken bowls? I'm going to kind of do that with hot dogs. So let me get a pan out and start making our potatoes. All right, our mashed potatoes were made according to the box directions. I did spill them all over the stove. My corn is defrosted and warmed slightly. My gravy's in process. I've got my little bowl greased. I'm going to cut my hot dogs up. First, I'm going to put down my potatoes, and then I'm going to move to the corn and then to the hot dogs. When I warmed up my corn, or basically defrosted it, I added a couple tablespoons of butter to the pan. I didn't add any water because I wanted to be able to dump it right in because I like buttery potatoes. So there we go. You know what I didn't do is I did not season with any pepper. Oh well, we can do that when we go to eat. Let's get our hot dogs cut up. All right, so we have 4 cups of mashed potatoes. The corn was probably an equivalent to a can of corn. And this was 5 hot dogs. Now I'm going to top it with some cheese, pop it in a 350-degree oven so the cheese can get melted. I can't even talk. So the cheese can get melted and the hot dogs can warm. All right, I'm going to say it was probably about 3/4 cup of cheddar cheese mix. I'm throwing it in the oven. That's what it looks like. So this is a quick, easy meal. Either you're busy because you're preparing for Thanksgiving, maybe you're doing some Christmas shopping, or maybe you've just had a long day at work and you want an effortless meal that still tastes good. Let me dish this up and get some gravy on it and we'll taste. All right, here it is. Let's get a little bit of the potato with the gravy. I love mashed potatoes and corn together. Some hot dog with some potatoes and corn. And now some cheese. I think I'm taking all my cheese at one bite. That's okay. Okay, I put mine in there until I noticed the cheese was melty. It is warm. It is not piping hot. So it was probably about 10 minutes. So you might want to go 15 or 20 just to make sure everything's, if you like it piping hot. This was perfect for me to be able to taste test. So there you go. What will we come up with next? So now you have one night where dinner's going to take you less than 30 minutes. All right, let's move on to our next one. We are moving on to our next hot dog or Frankfurter-inspired meal. What we got here is some beef Rice-A-Roni. The butter goes with that. We got our hot dogs. I'm probably only going to put about maybe 5 in there. I'm going to cut them up into, slices, like, little medallions, and cheddar cheese. I'm basically going to cook this according to the directions. Now, if you don't have Rice-A-Roni and you make your own, you can use that. You can use any kind of rice you want and season it however you want. You're basically adding hot dogs to it and cheddar cheese for a cheesy mix. I mean, I guess if you thought about it, you could add some marinara sauce to it and use Monterey Jack or mozzarella, sorry. So you could probably do lots of different combinations here. I only buy Rice-A-Roni when it's on sale, 10 for $1. Other than that, I'm going to fix my own rice. These are our Alpine hot dogs. That's the only kind of hot dogs we buy. You can eat them hot, you can eat them cold. You don't have to warm them up every time, unless of course you don't like them cold. All right, so I'm going to get started on making our Rice-A-Roni. All right, I've already changed my mind. My hot dogs are still a little bit frozen. So I've decided I am actually going to fry them up in the frying pan first. Not, I guess, fry them, but throw them in there and let them get a little bit brown on both of the sides. Then I'll take them out and then put the rice in and start the rice. All right, our hot dogs are going. So the other thing was, if those were frozen or not warm, I'm afraid that they wouldn't get warm because I'm going to add them to the rice right before the rice is done, but not at the beginning. So I do want them to be warm so they get hot at the very end with the rice. And I did 6 hot dogs, not 5. And yep, I'm just going to let them thaw out, get warm, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of brownness on the different sides. All right, let me get to it. All right, our wieners are done. We're now starting with the rice. 2 tablespoons of butter. We add in and brown it a little. Then I think it's like 2 cups or 2.5 cups of water and the seasoning packet. There's our wieners all done. You can see a little bit of brown on there. All right, let me finish up the rice. Well, we're not going to finish it up. We're going to go about halfway. Now we are just waiting for our rice to come to a boil. And then it's supposed to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. I believe I'm going to wait about 10 minutes, add the hot dogs. That way the hot dogs are hot at the same time. And since they're already hot, I guess I should say, they won't bring down the temperature. And it can continue to simmer, and the hot dogs can get even warmer with the rice. And then probably just a couple of minutes before all the liquid is gone, I'm going to top it with cheese and put the lid back on and let that cheese melt. Let's see if I can make this work. All right, we have put the hot dogs in. I do have to tell you that I left the room for a second and came back and found that my Malamute had jumped up onto my counter and got my cooked hot dogs that I had sitting over to the side. So I did have to put cold hot dogs in here. It did bring the temp down somewhat, so I turned it on high to get it simmering again, and we're going to move forward. At least this was covered. Okay, I've given this a good mix to make sure rice isn't sticking, and I've turned the burner down to low. Let's add some cheese. All right, I added about a cup, maybe a cup and a half of cheese. Add however much your family likes. I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to let it sit another 5 minutes on low. Here's the hot dog bandit. And yes, he knows better. And when he does that, then he just lets himself outside. We leave our garage door open just a little bit so he can get his paw in there and get out. So we're not constantly having to open the door or having him have accidents in the house. And so he just lets himself out and stays out here. And so here he is. He did sit. He usually won't let me capture him on camera whatsoever. Will you shake with Mom? Will you shake? No, don't lick my hand. Will you shake? It's a good boy. You know you did something wrong, huh? Okay, go back out to the garage. This is our finished finished meal. I would like to say on Atka's behalf, we know better. We know we need to make sure where he's at when we're in the kitchen, and we put things in the oven or the microwave to keep them from him. We've even had him walk up behind us as we are unloading groceries and have him steal a loaf of bread. We don't even know he's taken it until we can't find it. We go out in the backyard, we find the remains. And he always knows when he's done wrong because he always gets in trouble. So, you know, I'm not going to beat my dog when I made the mistake as well. I can take my part of it and take responsibility, I guess. He's a sweet dog. He's definitely not a lap dog. He's way too big. All right, so that's a little bit about Adka. He's only 5. We're going to taste the rice. I'm kind of afraid the rice might not have gotten completely done because I had opened the lid a couple times. No, that is good. That is good. We're going to get a little bite with the hot dog. Okay, I'm going to have to string my cheese around. This would be great. Sorry. This is good. It was quick. It was easy. It's got a great flavor. You got any other thing that you wanted to it. But if you're in a rush for dinner and you got some hot dogs, some Rice-A-Roni, and some cheese that you can shred into it, there you go. So you can save yourself some time. It's all in one pot. I have a little cutting board out here, and obviously a spoon or a wooden spoon. So you got a busy night. You're trying to prepare for Thanksgiving. You don't want a lot of extra food. Quick, easy. Probably would feed a family of 4, I guess. It's just me and my son here. This is probably 2 days worth of food. And maybe I'm trying to save money so I can make it till Christmas and get some presents. Cheap, depending on what you buy for the ingredients. Rice-A-Roni was $1 for me. Hot dogs were, I think, because we buy them in a box of 40. So I think it comes out to 55 cents a hot dog. And the cheese, and we always get shredded cheese. We always got cheese on hand. So anyway, I am going to end this now. My last 2, actually my cream and mushroom one was kind of long, and I have another cream and mushroom that's going to be kind of long. So I'm going to keep this short. Here's 2 ideas using hot dogs for quick, easy, delicious dinner. And it could be cheap. As we all prepare for the holidays and the busy seasons ahead. We got 2 months that are very busy, right? All right, this is Tina. Thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Share the video with friends or family that you think would be interested. Comment below. Let me know what you do with hot dogs or with Rice-A-Roni. Maybe you make your own Rice-A-Roni. I would love the recipe to make my own. And if you want to see the next video I do about using hot dogs in different ways other than just a hot dog, please be sure to subscribe. And this is Tina thanking you again for being with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.